The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of our program CHW in Action with your friend, your host, your CHW, Rafael Calderon. As always, I like to point out that CHW stands for Community Health Worker in Action because I'm always in action trying to bring you my community of Nashua, of Manchester, of the whole state of New Hampshire, of the whole New England region, all 6 states. I'm always trying to introduce you to new ways on how to create your ideal lifestyle via living a healthy lifestyle or a healthier lifestyle via using CHW4EVER's Wheel of Life philosophy. Now, one thing that I leave out sometimes is that the CHW4EVER's Wheel of Life philosophy used to be Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy, because what I did is that I took this, when I used to be a professional life coach, I took a philosophy that most or a lot of professional life coaches use to help their clients to create balance in their lives. What I did is that I took that philosophy and I applied my own personal experiences and I created my own Wheel of Life philosophy. And with that philosophy, with my own little touch, I began to put my life back together when I recovered from a chronic condition that I was living under, which was not fun, right? So once I was able to come out of my chronic condition was depression. You know, a lot of people do not like to admit that they are or have been depressed. I'm happy to admit it because I overcame it. I didn't overcome it. I misspoke. I learned how to self-manage my chronic depression thanks to the help of God, in the way of spiritual guidance. So when I was able to self-manage my chronic depression, then I received a message from God that my new mission in life was to be useful to others and to help others overcome their own depression, preferably to self-manage their depression before it becomes chronic, because once any condition that becomes chronic, then it stays with you for life. But doesn't mean that you have to let it run your life. You can control it if you learn how to self-manage it. And how do you learn how to self-manage depression, high blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, COPD, any chronic condition that you have? You can learn how to self-manage it. You know why? By learning how to better self-manage your social determinants of health. And that is why today we're doing this TV show, Standing Up. I'm wearing my Batman sign, my Batman t-shirt. And I gotta tell you that I'm wearing it for more than just to show off my Batman thing. I'm wearing it to show that I'm not in the best shape of my life. In last week's TV show, I talked about how my face is a little more puffy than usual because somehow I just let my blood pressure get too high and it became dangerously high. Okay, but thanks to God, I worked with a very nice company that has a lot of nurse practitioners, and one of her basically she made me go to the hospital. She made me go to the emergency room so I could get prescribed my medication. So I got back on my high blood pressure medication that I used to take a long time ago. Because that's one thing that I don't talk too much about these things because my TV show is about my message, not about me. But I think that I have become part of my message. And that's why I wanted to do this special TV show like this. So because back in the day, I used to suffer from high blood pressure, and I had to get on medication, and I lived that way for a long time. But then I was able, and I won't tell you my whole life story, but eventually, in 2015, I became a CHW, a community health worker, and that's how I read books and I learned how to self-manage my blood pressure and how to self-manage my chronic condition. And again, that would be a very, very long story. But the point being is that I now know that I can be in a bad shape like I am now, eventually I will get healthier. My blood pressure was very, very high. I am now on medication. I am now learning, not relearning, how to eat better, how to self-manage myself, how to exercise, how to keep my mind more at ease, more at peace. Because when your mind is at peace, you don't have to worry so much about being stressed out. Because when something or someone stresses you out, you get rid of it. You get away from it. When your mind is clear, you find ways to do that. But when your mind is not clear, when your mind is not clear, you cannot find a way, or it's very hard to find a way to get rid of or get away from the things that cause you stress. And like I told you earlier, any condition, and stress is a condition, any condition that becomes chronic is dangerous because it stays with you. It never goes away. It doesn't mean, though, that it can run your life. Being in stress, living in a daily stressful situation is very, very bad for you, health-wise and spiritually wise. But you're not stuck with a situation like that. You can learn how to self-manage. But in order to learn how to self-manage, you have to be able to follow a plan. You have to be able to follow a philosophy. And that's when we come back to the Wheel of Life philosophy, or CHW4EVER's Wheel of Life philosophy, which really is another way to say it's basically social determinants of health. I'm going to give you an example of what I'm trying to talk about. And I hope you don't mind, okay? I hope you don't mind. In fact, I'm going to show you this on this so you can have this long view. So I'm going to read what this is to you. I'm going to read this to you. This is the path forward, the digital transformation in social determinants of health. Okay, this is a program that I got involved with earlier last year because I wanted to better learn how to self-manage my own social determinants of health because I knew that I wasn't healthy. I just knew that I was too stressed out to do anything about it. And I knew that I needed medication, but I didn't have a doctor. Well, I still don't have a primary doctor, but I didn't have a nurse practitioner that would push me to go to the hospital. So I was not able to, self-manage my social determinants of health because I was not healthy. I was not as healthy as I could be. And I would come here every week and I would do a TV show and I would interview people. But deep down, I knew that I could do better, that I could be a better example. Now, the lesson from that is that I didn't stop doing what I love, which is this TV show to bring you information on how you can live your ideal lifestyle, how you can create your ideal lifestyle, how you can live an ideal lifestyle by living a healthy lifestyle, because I'm committed to that. And I'm a believer that you persist and you try and you try and you try and you stay the course to accomplish a goal, regardless of what's going on around you. But again, going back to this program, I joined it. And one thing that I want you to show, look, it says right here, COVID-19 has laid bare a harsh truth. You know what that truth is? Is that, and this is something I read, not my opinion, that COVID-19 affected everybody. It's still affecting everybody. COVID-19 is still happening, but it's happening more, it's affecting more, as they call it, Black and brown communities, African Americans and Hispanic communities. And we're going to go into a whole program about that when I have more data, more information to share with you. For now, what I want to tell you is that this program helped me understand that I need to send a message for everybody, but I need to do a special program to each specific community that has been affected by COVID-19. Last week in my Spanish TV show, I had my good friend Don Alejandro Urrutia talk about why COVID-19 hits the community, the Latin community or the Hispanic community or the Spanish community so hard. So next week, I am going to try very hard to have someone from the African American community to come on the TV show and talk to me about the reasons why COVID-19 is hitting the African American community so bad. Okay, but now the main thing of this TV show is that I'm standing because I want to show that I'm not in my best shape, but I will get my weight under control. I am getting myself healthy again because I am going to practice what I preach. I am going to use CHW4EVER's Wheel of Life philosophy to create my ideal lifestyle, be living a healthier lifestyle. And you might be wondering, well, isn't that what you have been doing all these years? And I would say, yes, I have. But the whole magic of the philosophy of the wheel of life is that it's a wheel. You see, it's a wheel. So sometimes you have different areas in your life and things go wrong in different areas and the weight shifts from one area to the other. So being living an ideal lifestyle does not mean a perfect lifestyle. Does not mean that things are not going to happen, right? That will cause trouble, that will make your life difficult, that will make you lose sight of what's important, which is to be healthy. Because I'm telling you, if you want to be happy with your life, you have to be healthy. There's no way around it. Okay? So with that said, so now that you know that my whole goal is to, because I learned it, is to teach people or to introduce people to new ways to create ideal lifestyles, be a living a healthy lifestyle, be a using CHW4EVER's Wheel of Life philosophy, which really comes down to people better managing their social determinants of health. That's what I teach. Now, I brought a few pieces of paper that I want to share with you. So for starter, okay, I'm going to start with my Wheel of Life philosophy, okay? This is my Wheel of Life philosophy. This is really what I learned to use to get myself back in control of my life. Because if you know my story, okay, I used to be chronically depressed from 2006 until 2009. I call those my downfall years. I'm not going to get into that. All I'm going to tell you is that I was chronically depressed, and I went from owning a home in Nashua, New Hampshire, to renting a room in Meriden, Connecticut. And that's where God found me. God found me when I was broke, when I was sad, when I was unhealthy, when nothing was going my way. I prayed deeply one night, and I had this vision. I had this image in front of me, I would say images. The image was of me doing my TV show, this TV show, back in 2004, 2005, in front of my own home that I used to own in Nashua, and I was happy. I was a happy guy. I was healthy. I had everything going for me, and somehow I just took my eyes off the prize, and I lost everything. So that was my depression, and it took me 3 years to overcome it. By the time that I overcame it, which is in the spring of 2009, living in Meriden, Connecticut, that's when I had my spiritual experience, and God found me, and I put myself back together, and I had this image of me back in front of my house. And then I remember, how did I get to that point? How did I achieve the American dream? I'll tell you how I did it. By working very hard in helping other people create what I now call the ideal lifestyles. I was being useful to others. So God blessed me with material things, with money, and the things that I wanted. But being a human being, I squandered it all, and I ended up being depressed. So, and the depression took away the joy of life. So I didn't have the energy that I needed to have to make things happen. But now that God have found me, and God showed me the way is the Wheel of Life philosophy. And as I have told you so many times, the Wheel of Life philosophy, it's not mine, it's not my idea, it's not my creation. I just took my personal experiences and I made it into Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy. And then I went out there and I started helping people. I started using Rafael Calderon's Wheel of Life philosophy to help people to live better lives. And in helping people, that's how I got back on my feet, right? So now, here's the question. Why do so many people end up chronically depressed? Why did I end up chronically depressed? When I figured out how to win in life, how to achieve the American dream, how to be successful, what happened to me? Let me tell you what happened. What happened is that I got myself caught in a vicious cycle of symptoms, right? This was my problem. When I lost sight of who I am and what I'm about and what my mission in life is, which is to help others, then I lost my way. I got caught up in this vicious cycle of symptoms, and I just didn't know how to get out of it. And if one thing I can tell you, that the main, if not the best way to get out of a vicious cycle of symptoms, you have to develop a relationship with God, whatever your perception of him or her may be. Okay? God means many things, many different things to many different people. To me, God simply means pure love, pure, true love. When you love yourself truly, when you love others, I mean, bad things still happen to you, but they don't affect you that much. Bad people kind of tend to stay away from you. Bad situations don't quite seem to develop in your life because you do not attract into your life such things. And even if they come into your life by some coincidence, they never stay. They never stay. So that's why I promote for people to spend their lives creating their ideal lifestyles so that they do not fall into a vicious cycle, okay? A vicious cycle of symptoms. That's what I'm all about. That's what this TV show is all about. So I can proudly stand here and tell you, yes, COVID-19 affected me, affected my business, affected everything around me. I lost everything once again, but I always knew that I could get it back. The question was, what price would I have to pay, right? And again, when you are caught up in a vicious cycle of symptoms, you don't see clearly. You don't think clearly. It's not easy to get rid of those things that are causing you to be stuck in a vicious cycle of symptoms. So me, what was my consequence for being stuck again in a cycle of symptoms? Because I'm only human, right? I still make mistakes. I'm still learning, but I am a better man than I used to be. I am a better person than I used to be, and that is thanks to God, right? But the deal is that I did not pay attention to how I was falling back into this depression, chronic depression, which is part of the vicious cycle of symptoms. So I became overweight. I got very stressed out. My face got all puffy, as you can see. My blood pressure went extremely high, dangerously high. And it took a message from above, let's put it that way, for me to get back in track. And now that I'm back in track, I want to help others to get back in track with me, or just like I did. Why? Because I believe that it happened to me. My opinion is that it happened this time around. It happened because of COVID-19, because of me losing everything and having to start over again, right? But now, how do I want to share this with people? Here's the deal. I have this system that I started using back in 2016 when I established CHW4EVER. And what I do is I become a person that wants to hire me after CHW, because I am an independent CHW, and I do work for a consulting fee. I help wherever I can, but I have bills to pay too, right? So I'm a CHW and I offer my CHW services. And I have people hire me as their authorized representative. And what we have here is a very, well, I'm gonna say a person. I don't wanna tell who she is, but a very nice person, and I have helped her to create her ideal lifestyle by me simply teaching her how to use CHW4EVER's Wheel of Life philosophy, right? So that's what I do. So to show you again, this is a business transaction that I make with people that want to make their lives better, right? We do an actual contract, and this is how I plan to continue to help people. Now, there's a reason why I'm showing you all these things, but the point being is that I am now actively helping people do what I did, which is to learn how to manage the social determinants of health, which in other words, is basically teaching people how to create their ideal lifestyle. If you are depressed, if you are sad, if you are having financial problems, if you are stuck, if you feel stuck inside, if you are unhappy with your job, if you're in a bad relationship, if you are living or loving someone who doesn't love you back, doesn't make you feel good about yourself, okay? If you are disconnected from God, all these issues become problems if you don't take care of them in time. And if you don't take care of them in time, those issues become problems. Those problems become, the issues become problems. The problems become conditions. Those conditions become chronic. And once they become chronic, then you're in trouble. It takes you a lot of time to get out of it. Luckily for you, you can still get out of them. You can get out of trouble. You can get out of trouble if you apply a Wheel of Life philosophy. In my case, CHW4EVER's Wheel of Life philosophy. So again, I'm going to tell you this in a way, I'm going to try to be more clear. So if you have anything in your life of all the things that I just mentioned that are making you unhappy and unhealthy, those are issues. If you don't handle your issues, they will become problems. Those problems are going to affect your life, your way of life. Okay? Those problems will then become conditions. they will become an obstacle for you to live a healthy, happy life, or a healthy, happy lifestyle. I'm losing my words, right? So now, when you are not able to live your life the way you want to, when those problems become conditions, in time, they become chronic. When they become chronic, that means that you're stuck with them. That means that you get stuck in a vicious cycle of symptoms, and your life is not good, and you are not happy. The good news is that you can undo all that by learning how to use CHW4EVER's Spirit of Life philosophy, right? Did I mention that enough? Have I shown that enough to you? It's because, I learned when I was younger the way to learn something is repetition, 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 right? Practice, practice, practice. So I want you to learn how to use this philosophy that I have used to make my life better because I want your life to be better, okay? And the reason why I showed you that in order for me to help someone, to work with someone, they have to hire me as a authorized representative. It's not to try to sell anything. It's to try to tell you that every time someone hires me and I make a decent amount of money, I donate. I'm gonna say my ultimate goal is 10%. I donate $10 a month to FAN. FAN stands for Friends of Access Nashua. So I started donating $10 a month back last month in December, before 2021 started, because I want 2021 to be my year. Well, CHW4EVER's year. 2020 was supposed to be CHW4EVER's year, but then COVID-19 happened. So in December, one of my goals for Christmas was to start donating $10 a month to Friends of Access Nashua, so this TV studio can have the equipment that they need to continue to provide this excellent service that is offered to the community of Nashua. And I want to say thank you to all the guys in this TV studio that make this TV show happen, that make so many TV shows happen, that help so many producers. And I wanted to say all their names, and I'm afraid to forget one. So I'm just going to say the team at Access Nashua, thank you very much. So I want to bring this philosophy into Nashua, into Manchester, into New Hampshire, into the whole New England region, maybe later on nationwide. And those $10 that I donate a month could become 100, 1,000, a million, okay? I believe that this studio deserves a lot of money so we can have a lot of cool new equipment for the community. And so I'm going to start asking fellow producers and people that I know to join me. It's only $10 a month, okay? And it's for a non-profit. So you can get it back in your taxes. But I'm not going to keep harping on the $10 thing because I don't want $10 thing because I don't want people to think that this is just about money. This is about supporting something good. And I think that that's one of the reasons why COVID-19 has affected the Latin and African American community harder than others, because to my knowledge, to my opinion, and let me do a disclaimer, this is only my opinion, okay? It's no one else's, so I'm responsible. So I'm going to say, I do not see a Latin center where any Latin family can go and enjoy their culture whenever they want. I'm not talking about just blocking space in a multicultural center, which is also a very good thing, but I'm talking about a center where anytime that anyone wants to go and speak in their language and learn about their culture, share about their culture, they can go in. Same thing for the African American community. I mean, if I had access to an African American leader that could come in my TV show and tell me and tell our audience why it is that COVID-19 has affected the African American community so much, I'm willing to guess that somewhere around his answer, it would be that we do not have a place where people can come and get together and enjoy their cultures and do cool things, beautiful things, and simply gain information. And if they have any questions, that they can call. And I'm talking about the African American and the Latin community that have been affected, because that's what I read in the news. But I wish every single ethnicity, including the American Caucasian community, okay, because I don't want to leave anybody out, that everyone had their own community center, cultural center, resources center. Each one would have our own. Because if we all have our own centers, then we can be stronger together, right? A tree with very strong roots It's not strong just because one root does all the work. It's because different roots come together and they make a strong trunk. I hope that came out okay, right? So that's what I wish I could see. So that's why everyone that knows me knows that I've been trying to create a Latin center for a long time. Haven't found the right support yet, but eventually that will come. So since my work is not about me, it's about my community, all of my community, then what I try to do is try to share what I learned that has made my life better, so it makes other people's lives better. So now you know more about who I am and what I am about, right? Now you know about this philosophy that I'm trying to hammer into your brain, so you get to use it for yourself. Please stay tuned for this TV show. I have so many cool things in store for 2021. And I am, like I said, I want you to see that right now I'm standing before you and I'm not at the best health that I could be. So that when I come back in shape and with my blood pressure under control and CHW Forever doing very, very well, that I can tell you, hey, remember back in January when I said this and I said that, and I looked a little bigger in this area, and my head and my face was puffy. Look at me now. And how did this happen? It wasn't magic. It wasn't magic. I will tell you then, you know what it was? It was CHW Forever's Wheel of Life philosophy. And the way to use the CHW Forever Wheel of Life philosophy to come out of or break out of a visual cycle of symptoms is you have to get involved in good things. You have to reconnect with God, whatever your perception of Him or her may be. And for me, when I think of God, I think of true love, true, sincere, pure love that comes in spiritual guidance. Spiritual guidance. And here's one thing that it's hard for a lot of people to understand. As long as you are not at peace within yourself, as long as you are not fully healthy, it's a little harder to get closer to that true and pure love than God is. And I tell you this because I know a lot of people. I tell you this because I know a lot of people that go to church 4 times a week, right? 5 to 6 hours on Sundays. And when I try to talk to them about helping others in our community, they're too busy. So I asked them, okay, what exactly is it that you're learning in church? What message is it that you're learning? Because God's message is Jesus Christ's message. That means be there for others, okay? Want more for others than you want for yourself. That's the message. So I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person, and I have learned that the more I can do for others, the more that God will bless me. And again, I'm not trying to make this neither a religious show, neither a money-oriented show. I'm just trying to tell you, life has thrown a lot of challenges at me, but I've always been able to make it through because God is in my side, on my side. He's on my side because He knows that all I want is to be useful to others. That's the way to happiness. That's the way to having peace of mind. And with that, we've come to the end of the TV show. As usual, for me, time flies when I'm here because I love being here. I love this TV show. So I do not want to close without saying once again, thank you to Access Nashua for all that you do. And I want to ask our community of Nashua, please support me in my individual, and because I want to be responsible for this, my individual effort to show my gratefulness, my appreciation for this TV station and its staff through fun by donating $10 a month. And please, with that, I want to leave you. Think about what I said. Watch this TV show over and over. Get the Wheel of Life in your mind because you can make your life better no matter what you're going through. And with that, I thank you sincerely. Your friend, your CHW, Rafael Calderon. God bless.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.